Jan, welcome.
Hello, Esther. Hello, the drafts world. Nice to see you again.
Yes, and very nice to see you again. I can tell once more you are the chairman of the Polish Drafts Federation and also professional drafts promoter. So yeah, I'm very happy to have you here once more. And yeah, I said the final game. Of course, we don't know if it is really the final game they will play, but at least it's the final game of the regular games. And yeah, actually, I watched back the videos of the streams of the previous match between Boomstra and Schwartzman. It was covered by the Dutch television RTV Drenthe, and I watched it back on YouTube, and then actually it came to my mind that in that final regular game, the players had quite a quick draw there. And after the game, Rules said, "Yeah, well, actually for me it's quite okay because I can have now I have a little bit more time to prepare for the tiebreak. So for me, yeah, it wasn't really." A problem. This was a game with a 4 clock, and Schwartzman allowed an exchange there quite quickly in the opening, and Roel decided to take the big exchange, and then yeah, it was quite quick draw. So, what do you think for today?
I think there are many things to consider, and many depends on strategies and tactics that both players have, because after all, we were talking on Monday about exhaustment, and now we know that in the final part of the match, the Schwartzman could be really exhausted right now. And if Boomstra wants to exhaust him really more before the tiebreak, then maybe I would not expect the short game, and maybe I would expect some tougher, sharper variants. I hope that this is something for us that Boomstra can follow. After all, you don't want to show your opponent your weak points. And as Schwarzman during the match already have told about exhaustment, not sleeping well, maybe this is something that Boomstra knows already. This is his Achilles points. You can just push it and try to exhaust him even more, and that would be a chance for us. And after all, during those last two games, we saw some activity from Schwartzman, so I believe that he will follow this scenario. And what he told us on Monday's interview, if he has the strength, if he feels great, then he will try to find his chances to win the game and to be back in the match. And I believe this is the moment for him, and I hope he slept well. I hope that he is really rested right now, and he will show us his best.
Yes, I hope so too. And I think yesterday he also had a good night before because it was a really interesting game yesterday as well. So yeah, I hope he feels good today as well. And maybe there's a difference between the last time the match between those players and this year's match, because the last time, the previous time, Roel had won only one game during the regular stage up until game 12. So he knew already that even if he would win game 12, then still they had to play this tiebreak. So he was already sure to play the tiebreak. Well, this time, if he wins this game, it's done, and he doesn't have to play the tiebreak anymore. So that's a difference. So that makes me a little bit more confident that today we can see an interesting game as well.
Yeah, what we do love is the draft's emotion, and we know today that it can be finally the last game of the match. We didn't know that on Monday, we didn't know that on Tuesday, despite the fact that Boomstra had his winning chance of the match. The regulations say that the last games will be played, but today, if Boomstra wins, this is the last moment of the match. So I'm really pleased to be here with you, and thank you once more for invitation. I hope that there will be a lot of emotions, but especially for players, for watchers, viewers who are bored with classical game time. This is the last day for you, and all the final peak of emotions can come tomorrow during the tiebreaks. I think that many of viewers will hope to see you again tomorrow and to watch and follow the games in tiebreak, because with shorter time, the emotions grow, and we love it.
Yes, yes. When I'm completely honest, then yeah, I agree. I hope today, at least we will not win today, because then we have the tiebreak tomorrow, and that's, yeah, I think very very exciting. Maybe the real draft lovers, they hope to see decisions in regular games. But yeah, for excitement, it would be very nice if we have a tiebreak tomorrow as well.
Yeah, we were talking about already. If the world title is decided in the shorter time, does it mean if you are the classical world champion or you are just the champion in rapid or blitz? It doesn't matter. After all, the players, the performance of Boomstra and Schwarzman gave us a lot of entertainment during those 2 weeks. Or even more. No, actually, today we have the 2 weeks from the start, yeah, because we started on 5th of January.
Yeah.
So those 2 weeks of emotions is something that we love, something that we really like to see, and matches provided to the viewers like that give you the best possibilities of developing, of promoting drafts. About what we already were talking about on Monday also, and we'll talk about today, I hope so as well. 8 minutes to start. Viewers ready. I believe cups with coffee, tea ready already. Mine is here, and we are ready to watch the best performances of Boomstra and Schwarzman, these final moments of the match.
Yeah, and yeah, what you also stated is that well, not all regular games were won, but for to me, yeah, this is also a topic which is I think much debate about whether it is not good for the sport when you have a lot of draws. But I think we could see the previous 2 days that even when you have games with draws, it doesn't really, the result even doesn't really matter when you have these games like we saw yesterday and the day before. They are just so interesting that, well, at least to me, it doesn't really matter if there would be a result or not. That just the games were so interesting, and then yeah, it doesn't matter to me, and maybe I see that even. I like to see that even more than a game like in round 8 when Alexander had just a big blunder there.
Yeah, it's good, for example, for me, if I want to make a video from it, because it's quite easy and fast to explain what happened and to make the video short and possible to watch for everybody, even the beginner. But during the equal game and sharp game that ends up in a draw, still you have a lot of emotions. Of course, after all, when you see that the result finally was a draw, you are less likely to see the game and what happened. Despite the fact if one side wins. So then you always will follow the game, check what happened, even if it was the blender. So, you know, there are advantages and disadvantages of both scenarios. But today, I think that we'll have also the emotions, also the international, the interesting results. And after all, will guide us to the tiebreak and to have more and more of those emotions.
Yeah, definitely. Results also stick more to mind than draws. I think. Although there are maybe also some famous draws where someone misses the win. For example, the one between Cybrons and Chizhov. The final game between them in their match is maybe an example of a famous draw there. But in general, the victories are more well known. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and now we see the players are ready, are already sitting behind the table. Well, they have 5 minutes left. What do you think? Can you see from them? Are they more tensed than the previous days? Do they look relaxed?
I believe the last 3 days are almost the same, because for Alexander it could be the last deciding day of the match, and you know, just playing for nothing, it would not change anything. Because possibly it will happen once again, and I would be really, really disappointed, or maybe even excited if Schwartzman would change anything in the last round. But I don't feel so. I don't feel so. Maybe you have another feelings about the first move of Alexander.
Yeah, this is something I like about matches, that you always have these kind of also tactical and maybe psychological questions about the openings, and that's why it's already from the start the game is already interesting. This is an important question in this match, and this was also something I saw when I looked back the stream of the previous match between the players. Actually, there Alexander explained that this move 34-29 was a move he didn't play anywhere before in his career. So he really came up with this. Okay, maybe he played just once or twice in not a very important game, but this is what he said. He just came up with it like a surprise to surprise Roel. And it was also a bit difficult for him because he hadn't played it while he was used to playing lines he had already played multiple times, and now he had to play something completely different. But I think maybe now he feels comfortable with him, and it's just like a usual move for him because he's so known with it now, as he played it in almost every game in the previous match. There was one game where he played 32-28, but in this match so far he played it in every single game. I expect him to play it once more. Mm-hmm. And then the question is also for Roel how to answer, and that's also something funny actually, because the only win in the regular game in their previous match came when Schwartzman opened 34-29 and Roel answered with 18-22. Okay. And that's one of the only answers Roel hasn't played so far. Mm-hmm. So maybe it could be a nice tribute for him to his victory to play that line today.
It could be. After all, this is the opening that is really barely played on the tournaments. Not many times we can see players choosing this line. It would be interesting if it would go that way today. I think the chances are small, but still.
In this match? No, I think he did it twice because he also had he took one time with in the 4 o'clock with 12 times 21, but in the first game, the first game of this match, they also had this opening line, but then he took with 11, like the normal line. Yeah. Yes. Again, they had these problems already multiple times in this tournament. Yeah. It was even on the radio that the clock fell on the ground, I think. Okay. Yes. Okay, we see it. We see it once more.
Stopper, something just to mute himself.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, it could be because really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so we see the tribute actually to his victory.
And immediately answered Schwartzman 32-28. So the positions. Okay, so you have this opening with 16.
Yeah, this was exactly what happened back then. They had exactly this this line, and then 12-18 was played by Roel, and he does play it right now. And then back then, if I'm correct, this move was played by Schwartzman.
So you predicted it quite well.
Yes, yes. I didn't have any information. I did it just by mind. But actually, when you look back the streams, I said this already multiple times that I thought this 1822 move would be played. But I'm not sure whether this was the continuation.
I don't know. I have to follow you. This time I did not open the two bottom but I can do it in check.
I can check it, but I don't think this this was the answer played.
This. 25 games in the base. Schwartzman. It was 2019 that they played that game.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Was,
so
game 6.
Boomstra then did not exchange.
Yeah.
27, he played 11-16.
Yeah, because it was an attack there.
Yeah. So just to mention the game that Boomstra won on 2019, it went like this, without exchanging here, as you can see on the screen. Boomstra played 11-16, Schwartzman played 42-38, and then after 7-12, Schwartzman blocked the wing with move to 31-26. And the game went like a double attack, but still better attack for Roel, and Alexander brought the plan to surrounding the center of his opponent, but finally it was not good for Schwartzman as a choice because he lost the game.
Yes. So now we see a different approach. And again, it looks like this debate they already had multiple times where Roel goes to 25 and Alexander has this binding, but he also has a strong center.
It will be another try of surrounding from Roel, I guess, because and it can be a promise of a nice game after all, because what we saw yesterday and the day before, we had two interesting games where Alexander did make an attack. So I think that now the line that Boomstra is showing us is the promise of a nice continuation of this game.
Yes, I think so too. This is also an interesting. This will be an interesting game. This doesn't look like they would just exchange and try to have an open position. When you go to 25 and then White has this binding and this strong center, almost both the center pyramids here. Yeah, this will be interesting.
That's right. I will still check how many games were played in the base with this opening and with this exchange that we already saw.
Always nice to see, because in the previous games we already saw that quite quickly they had a complete new position, which has actually never occurred before. And I'm curious. Yeah.
So the situation is quite promising for Boomstra, because before the move 15-20, that game was played with this position 7 times in the history in the base, and was the game, for example.
This position, right?
Yes, this position before 15-20. It was played in 1993 between Harm Wiersma and Alexei Czyżew, and it was a draw. After that, Kemperman, Ferry, Verminghans, I don't know who it is, but it is the Hoftklasse in 94, and it was won by Black. Then Marines Emanuel played against Czyżów in 94, and it was a draw again. Henk Kalk against Heuberg Jost in Hoofdklasse in 96 was a draw again. Argo Unuk against Vipolis Raimonds, grandmaster from Latvia in Tallinn in 98. It was won by Raimonds Vipolis, and then another draw in 2008. And the last game was played between Artem Ivanov, who is from the eastern side of Europe, against Wouter Wolf in World Championship final in 2017. And it was won by the Dutch player. So it's promising, because out of 7 games, 3 were won by black and other were drawn.
Yeah, okay, that looks like quite a good record, and Boomstra likes these kind of statistics because he already mentioned in the 4 o'clock game where we were talking about when he took with 12 to 21 instead of taking first with 11. He already saw before the game that this exchange had occurred 4 times, and all 4 times were won by black. And this is something he really liked. So I think he knows this statistics as well. And this move 15-20, has that been played as well?
After 6 out of 7 games were followed with this move, yeah.
Okay. And then so now we see 49 by Schwartzman, and then Roel goes to 26. Is it still in the books?
This is 4 games out of last 6 games, and only that was won by Vermin Hans in 94. Other 3 games were drawn. So that's how the statistics look like, but still we have the position that we already had in the base. And I think that other few moves can change it, and we can have absolutely new position in the base.
This is new?
This is not. This is
because 47 is now already played.
Okay, we have 1 game after 47, and it's another. No, it's this game from 2008 between Ove Verdel and Michael Krosbergen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So only 1 game in the history. But what is interesting about this opening, if Schwartzman wins it, it will be the first time in the history of the base that White would win this position. So it would be a history already in our statistics. The question is if it is possible. But after all, we already see that all the base pieces of Schwartzman, the most important, according to many theories, 49, 47, are moved to squares in the center. So now absolutely Schwartzman will try to build formations, strong formations in the center of the board and try to attack his opponent. Meanwhile, Boomstra will try to get control over the wings with those pieces 26, 25 and try to block the possible space for white pieces and to block them into the center. What is really nice with those plans, once you play surrounding systems in international drafts, 100 square board, it's like one small mistake sometimes can even make the center position of your opponent so strong that you can't stop it and you will lose a game. So what we can see right now, it's a little risk from Boomstra, who is not playing it safety, who is not trying to be calm like the writing on my cover, because there is keep calm and be yourself. Boomstra maybe is himself and he is trying to make the position sharp. So it's really nice for us again, because I guess that after this 8-9 moves already, we'll have a really, really interesting game.
Yeah, and yeah, I think we can thank both players here, because I think just as the last 2 days, this day will also give us a very interesting game. And maybe Damian, we can show the game by Wouter Wolf you were talking about, because I think that had a very nice combination in the end. Maybe you can check it if I'm correct here, but then it would be nice to show that game.
If you remember that game, that there was a combination, then sure I will show you. So give me a second to find that game.
Yeah.
I'll follow it. Okay. I've already have it, and yeah, it was a short game, so I believe there was something like combination. So the change, I will make it on the analyzing board after 15 to 20. It was played 49. Then it was 9. There it was a change because Walter played 1924. And
Okay.
then it was 44, 14, 19, 36 from Ivanov, 10, 14, 31, 26. He allowed to block the wing, which is not so obvious, and it's just a trailer of really sharp game, I guess.
Yeah, so now this is not completed locked because there's no piece on 15, but still so it is quite locked, and black is also locked on this wing.
But exchanged back which side from 26 to 11. So absolutely now we can see the surrounding from the black side. Then we have the move to 36. So they're waiting. Black pieces are developing the edge piece from 16, which is of course really understandable. 21, 26, 36. Okay, I just don't want to spoil the moment with the combinations. So I'm taking it. Okay, 11, 16, 41, 6, 11. It was 28, 23, and he exchanged that way to 23. Then it was 2, 8, and 47, 32. 12, 17, 42, 28, 8, 12, 8, 12, and do.
That's not possible.
Yeah, that's not possible.
Somewhere around because
I lost some move, pardon. Oh, there was after something I lost because I have the small numbers here.
Yeah, maybe you can tell the numbers and I will play the moves. Maybe.
Oh, that was the move. That was the move. Sorry. Promote this variant. 42, 47. Yep, that's right. 17, 21. Now he went out with 27 piece. Walter attacked well. He blocked with 32. Maybe it was something like force combination because there is already advantage of black pieces, quite big advantage. 48, 42, 12, 17, great position. I really would love to see position like that. And this escape from the position of white. 10, 15, and 29, 23, 38, and 38, 32. And now it comes with the combination. So maybe chance for our viewers to find it.
Yes, we keep this this position for a moment, and yeah, it's a very nice position. You can see here it's between really clear that it's between playing on the edges, all these pieces on the edges and all these pieces on the edges, while white is in the center, but white is quite locked and blocked in the center. He already went to 18 even. Just to get some space somewhere, but now now it stops. You cannot go any further anymore. Yeah, and we see all these gaps here. So this is some kind of a position where you think, okay, there should be a combination somewhere at the moment.
Casper already does see the combination. Okay, we are waiting for another one. You can test yourself and try to find the combination from the black side of things. What is really nice with this combination, it comes with not a single but two variants, so it can be more difficult to find. And always when you play drafts and you want to win with tactics, then you want to prepare more difficult combination for your opponent because it will be there will be more chances that your opponent will not find it. Just more difficult combinations. And you know how it is when you start the game. You just think that and know that it's not possible to make many empty spaces between your pieces, but once you get to a very tense position, it means that sometimes you don't have other possibilities. You have to make those holes between your pieces and gives your opponent chance to win with tactics. And this is what happened here. And just to say, playing with the white pieces, Artyom Ivanov is the great player of Ukraine, Grandmaster, who absolutely dominated Ukrainian championship in the end of 2021. He's one of the best world players and was beaten by, after all, a young Dutchman. Yeah.
Yes, and these kind of combinations where you have two possibilities to take a piece, they work always better, because maybe it's, I don't know why, maybe because we are a bit lazy and we just think, okay, if you can take two possibilities, you can take it two ways, then okay, it cannot happen that both will work. That on both ways to take, there's a way to make a combination here. So yeah, it should be equal. Obviously, players don't think like this consciously, but maybe and not unconscious, they think a bit like this, and then they forget to check those moves.
There can be moments in the game like, okay, you don't have any other possibilities. So if, for example, you have 3 or 4 possibilities and you see that everything despite one is losing and you still did not calculate the last one, you can just be blind and without any calculating play the last one, especially during the moments when you have the lack of time. And that was one of the advices that I got from my old coaches. If you are out of time, just after calculation, one variation, another, and you see that all are losing, just pick the other one and hope that it's not losing.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you see that your opposition is losing, you just don't calculate the combinations till the end. You just follow this variation. There were games that I lost that way in my career, but after all, I lost with the combinations that were really, really nice. And sometimes, it's like losing against your opponent thanks to the beautiful combination. It's maybe bittersweet, but a little more sweet than bitter.
Yeah, and for this combination, it's also, you can already see, okay, there are if you make this piece disappear, then you see already ways to go for a king like this, or maybe like this. So you have to check, okay, from where would the combination start, and then maybe this would be a good way to go from, because yeah, there is already a piece over here. Another possibility would be from here, but it doesn't look very obvious in this position because there's a gap on 2. But here the idea of the combination is to get your piece on 2, and then when you saw that idea, then it's not that complicated anymore. So I see now already more people saw the combination, so I think we can show it. And it starts with this very nice move. And you can take 2 ways, but actually it doesn't differ that much. So we can show this one first, take to the center. And now the tricky move comes here. We play like this to get the piece on 2 here.
Yeah, and that's
also,
why with taking backwards, you build a formation like you tell. Like you told it already, it's a beautiful way of making a position stronger because you sacrifice pieces just to make a formation, preparing the combination. It's a really nice idea.
Yeah, and also when you in this starting position, you could do it already here, but then the problem is that you cannot play anymore. It's white to play, so that won't work, of course. So that's why you need this move first, because now the piece is on 27. So it means if you play it like this, then here white still has to take the piece on 21, and this gives you the time to play this nice move. Take 2, and now go to king. You go to 47?
Yeah, 47.
Oh yeah, of course, because else
49 would be captured already.
And the other possibility works actually a bit the same. So if you take here, then still after this move, white
That's the same idea, but opposite side. Yeah.
Yeah. So and now still the same combination.
But now I think maybe that we can take to 49.
Yeah, both ways probably.
The king can be captured already with 3 pieces sacrifice,
Okay,
but
then
still 2 pieces more for black.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
If
So
if
nice
you are a drafts
combination.
player, you really look forward to have 2 pieces more because it's surely one position.
Yeah, yeah. You can allow this, no problem. Okay, let's go back to the game.
Mhm.
So
What has
47.
happened during our absence?
Yeah, and then 7-12 by Roel.
Yep. And now the time control. Alexander Schwartzman's clock shows 1 hour 24 minutes and Rule's clock shows 1 hour 17 minutes. So the 7-minute difference plus the fact that the black is on the move. So the difference will be a little bit bigger probably. And what is now? This is the crucial point of bringing up the plan to the game, because what can Boomstra do without losing the situation on the board? Because we can see that after moves like, for example, 10-15, there is a possibility to go out somewhere to 23 or 24 by Schwartzman, and this way Schwartzman would get more space in his position, for example, like changing that, which could be quite sharp and open the way for the 35 piece. And also, if you want to go to the half of the board of your opponent, try to look where your opponent does not have the column, the 3 pieces, base pieces that can change this piece and the gain temps, what we were talking about many times. Here, the base piece on the square number 1 follows the 7-12, the column that can be used to exchange this piece from 23. This is not possible because 1 was already moved by Boomstra. Only other possibility of changing this piece is to build the column with move 10 to 10 from 4, and then you have the column 5 to 14, and you can use it to change. But the question is, would Boomstra choose it? Because after all, still the square 24 could be taken. For example, this scenario, and still now nice exchange from white can be made like this. And if Alexander will be aggressive, then I think that he can follow something like this. It would give us really sharp position. This is
And
one.
he did play 10-15.
10-15. Okay, so I'm really interested what will be the continuation, because I think 28-23 is possible and 29-24 is possible, but 29-24 is a little bit more simple, because after that it gives a lot of possibilities and plans for black pieces. Okay, it gives the space to Alexander, but still Boomstra can many times attack this outpost piece, can change it, or just can play it on the second wing. So still a few plans to choose, and this move 28-23 I believe is more interesting in this position.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you go to 24, it can also be an interesting fight between playing an attack and playing against the attack. Because yeah, it depends how Boomstra will react, of course. But I think if Schwartzman goes to 24, we'll try to do something interesting. So I don't expect him to exchange the outpost immediately then. And then yeah, it can also become
Yeah, always.
interesting. And yeah, the question also was maybe here because Schwartzman played it like this, so he kept this. Oh, sorry, he kept this this exchange all the time. After 1924, he could always make this exchange. So yeah, at this point the question was indeed how to react for Boomstra, because if he would play this, then he would allow this, and then we wouldn't get a very interesting game probably. So it's very nice to see that Boomstra just tries to play the interesting moves as well. And yeah, as you say, now it's up to Schwartzman, and it makes more sense to go to 24 now because there is a piece on 15. Because previously you could also here you can go to that square, but then there's no piece on 15, so it makes sense to play it after this move. But yeah, maybe the most interesting would be to go for this attack. Yeah, I don't know.
I
then
think
then
that
it's
this is what will happen.
yeah.
Yeah. I
But
think
it's
that,
also dangerous for Schwartzman here.
but Schwarzman is looking for a dangerous and sharp position because, after all, what makes it dangerous? I believe that then there's not a simple plan for Black to follow this position and try not to let White develop with just bringing the tension higher and higher in this position, because after all, other moves of Black are quite simple, of White are quite simple, because you will develop the right wing, the piece 35, or exchange 34-30, and to develop the left wing, the long wing, just you always have the exchange 37-31, and you gain 4 temps, and it can be up to the position where everything will just simplify, and then Schwarzman will get about 4 or 6 temps more, and it will be active for him. So I guess that it's not so easy for Black, and it's not so dangerous for White to follow this idea.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I think both players are showing great fighting spirit here, and
Yeah.
that's very nice to see. But because well, at least this is more dangerous than just an open position, like we saw in some of the first games between those players. So yeah, seeing the last 3 games since the rest day, it's a pity that the regular games are done after today, because I would like to see more games like this. Yeah.
I guess that for you, the match could last all the year.
Yeah.
One game after another. Yeah, it would be great for us if we had more chances to follow online the happenings between the best drafts players of the world, like we could do it the last 2 weeks. And of course, we want other tournaments, other matches, and other, even if it's not for the titles, even if it's on a great level and it's a friendly match, then still we would like to see, because we would like to see the great games of drafts. And what can be the reason why we have activities from both sides during those last games? Sometimes I think that psychology is like that. While you are in the beginning or in the middle of the match, you think to yourself, okay, a lot of playing still. I don't know if I will have the strengths, etc. But once you play the last game, there is sometimes a change of this feeling, and you are like, the last game I would like to play some more. it's not so exhausting after all. I feel that I still have the powers to bring something to the drafts board, and that's the reason maybe of activity, despite the fact that of course Schwarzman is chasing the rabbit. He has to do something and win the games if he wants to be back in the match.
Yes, and also the question is what the players want, because they also know the games of their opponents, and yeah, this is something we also discussed already multiple times during the streams, that from the start of his career, Roel was very known for his attacking way of play, so he would play the white pieces here. But nowadays we also know a lot of surrounding games by him, and even in the last few games before the match, Boomstra played quite some interesting games against attacks, even against very strong players. For example, I don't know if you saw it, but in the club competition he played against Gandwarg. And he actually played against a center attack. It was not so early in the opening, but a bit later in the game. And I think he got an almost winning position. So for sure, Schwarzman knows this as well, and that's also something where the players are thinking about, because they also have to think, okay, what does my opponent think about the position, and what does he feel about the position? Will he be happy with this kind of positions? And I think that's also something what Schwarzman is considering now.
Mm-hmm. Probably about performance of Boomstra, I can add something because Boomstra visited Poland and Julinek during World Championship Rapid and Blitz, and during the Rapid, of course, I made a stream and I was commenting only Natalia's performance, and thanks to God or just her performance, she won the competition. But during the Blitz, I resigned from making the stream and I recorded many games. And on my channel on YouTube, every Thursday right now, I publish one live game that I recorded because I recorded many games during last year and I have the materials for every week. And I know that the games will be finished tomorrow and there are big chances that Boomstra will be the world champion. So I prepared the video with Boomstra game for tomorrow. From the Julinek, from the Blitz tournament, and I have a little problem with Boomstra's games because I recorded 3 or 4, and that were the games against Aleksander Getmański, against Murodula Muriayev, some more that I don't remember, and for sure it was against Martin van Eisendorn.
Yes.
Rule had a winning position against Martin with one piece more, but actually Martin defended well and drew the game. But actually all the games played by Boomstra without this one against Martin were played just with the precision, but quite calm, and everywhere those were not that interesting games and ended up in draws. But I will publish, of course, it anyway. Still, I had better and more interesting games from Schwartzman, who is really attacking one in the Blitz games and gives us amazing entertainment on the drafts board. So after the performance in Julinek, I started to believe in Schwartzman quite more. And I thought that maybe he is also quite afraid of Boomstra's precision and quite afraid of how difficult it is to win against him. But against other random people, Schwartzman does a great job because we saw it in the in the tournaments, like for example in Tallinn, many other tournaments like the World Championship Blitz, where he just takes a few wins more than other players and simply wins and won the 10th title in Julinek in the end of 2021. So at first also I did think that Schwartzman will be with chances in the tiebreaks, but the last tiebreaks showed us that it's different. Yeah. Now I don't know what to think. I don't know how to calculate it, and that's the beauty of the sport, as every sport, and beauty of drafts, that it's not predictable that easy. Not that easy. Maybe the opening of this game.
Maybe this is something that changed. Of course, this is only what I think. I don't know whether Schwartzman thinks the same about it, but to me, it looks like in the last few games he just throws something off his shoulders, and maybe he had a bit too much respect for Rule in the first few games. And now he just thinks, okay, I have to play, I have to try something, and then I'm on my best as well. So yeah.
I didn't follow all the stream yesterday, but I know that during the match in 2018, Schwartzman was speaking to Natalia. Maybe Natalia shared yesterday something that about Schwartzman's attitude to Rule during the previous match and this match.
No, don't think so.
Okay, because I don't know if I will tell too much, but I know that
you can, no problem.
Yeah, this is the last game, classical game. I know that in 2018, Schwartzman's attitude was like, you can't win over Boomstra, it's impossible. Yeah, and just this one game when he was close. After I don't believe, because one side attacked and the other side surrounded the opponent. I don't remember which side was Schwartzman. I believe he surrounded Boomstra that time that he was close.
The game he could win.
Yeah, he could win. He had a winning position after that game, but it was in the second part, the later part of the match. He believed in himself, but not before that.
Yeah, that's also something which Jan Groenendijk said, that it was very important for him. He had already the chance in game 2, Jan, and it was a very important moment for him just to know, okay, it's possible to beat Roel, because this is something I hear from all top players I speak to, that they actually all say, okay, Roel is just so strong. And this is also when looking back at the match in 2018 and the final day after the tiebreak. Alexander also said it on camera, so we can say that for sure. He said, okay, this day, I don't know, maybe we should check Roel on doping or something, because he was just like a computer. He was so strong. He was just unbeatable.
Yeah.
And okay, it's good to have respect for your opponent, but on the other hand, you shouldn't have too much respect. You should also believe that you can beat him. And I think, to me, it looks like in these last games, Schwartzman really has this belief that he can beat him.
Yeah. You know, some can say that you can play in the world title match without believing in winning, just for the money, just for the splendor, etc. But some will say that there's no point in fighting if you don't believe that you will win, that you can win.
Yeah.
I don't think there were many times in sports the situations like you don't have any belief in yourself and you win, because psychology, the attitude is the part of the game, and you can easily see it on the board. I see that Schwartzman chose something else, so he is not starting the attack immediately. At first, he is going for the left wing to develop it. After this move 36-31, it's less likely that he will go to the 27, because after for example 5-10, the move 28-23 gets stronger, because now black are without one and without the second one column to exchange this piece. So I think this will not be the move of Roel, maybe something like 11-16. But then actually Schwartzman can go to 27, and game will be just more and more interesting for us. I'm really interested in this game after this move of Schwartzman 36-31, because he just waited, he's patient, and he just wants once again Roel to show what is your plan for this position, because this position from surrounding can easily be changed to the passive position. Of course, I think that Roel have many ideas how not to make it passive and how to be in the game and not let Schwartzman to lead the center. But I'm really interested what will happen now. And I think that also maybe some time differences will be made, because I guess this is the move that Roel will take some time to think of.
That could be right, because that's also interesting, because in the last two games we saw that, and yesterday it was even very big advantage on time for Roel, and we also saw that in the previous game that Roel was better in time. He was ahead in time, and now we actually see today Schwartzman playing a bit more quickly. And I think that's also good to see, because then he needs his time on the decisive moments, and now I hope he will continue with good time management, so he still has his time left on the important moments. And I think this would be an interesting continuation, because in general, you learn that this combination, these two pieces, is dangerous. We call it a binding. Just like this is a binding, this is also a binding, and it's dangerous because if you play 5-10, then you can already see that this is a 1-for-2. But when you have a very strong center like now, you have these three squares and you'll have all these formations behind it, and it can be possible. And it can also be possible because if you play 5-10 now, one of the options maybe is to go to 24. And then there's no binding anymore, and there's just a strong center. So this is already one of the possibilities to do against this these ideas to play against this binding.
I know that in Netherlands the players are well trained and are good in playing surrounding positions against attack. Many times my co-commentator during the streams is Ivan Antonenko from Ukraine, the international master, who posted his career as a player for many years, but he is the one who always attacks. He does not believe in the surrounding, and he always starts the game with 35-30, always.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know, actually.
What is quite interesting, Yuri Anikeyev started to do the same after this Ivan's declarations, and this is also the opening that is not trained well with other players. So despite the fact what black can choose, if you want to lock the wing of white side, or if you will let them to attack and try to surround them, you always get some tension. You always get some interesting positions without the simplifying. And what is really nice about the competition between attack and surrounding, during team rapid championship, European championship in Kętrzano Terme, one of the games was between Alexander Schwarzman and Ivan Antonenko. And Ivan Antonenko at that time had an attacking position and had a winning position against Schwarzman, but finally in the end game he made a mistake and the game ended up in a draw. So I believe also Schwarzman is more type of an attacking guy than surrounding, but here I'm really curious about what will happen from Rul's side, because Rul is okay with surrounding. Many times he showed us that he's not afraid of Schwarzman's central pieces, and he always has an idea to stay with the good position.
Yeah, and especially lately he likes to surround as well. I already mentioned his game against Kandwarf, but also against Jos Stokkel, I think it was in the Heiken. He played that before. That was his last tournament with regular games before this match. And I think even the game you talked about against Martijn van IJzendoorn, Martijn had a center attack, and Roel played against it, and he got a winning position there as well. And he also beat Jos Stokkel in the system. So I think Roel will feel comfortable when playing against an attack. While we saw in the match between Jan Groenendijk and Roel Boomstra in 2016 that Roel always had the attacking side and Jan went for the edges. But that also maybe had to do with back then the preferences of Jan, who really liked to go for the surrounding.
Yeah. I would like to cheer all the people that are active on the chat. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions about the plans, about the possibilities in the game, just feel free to write. I do send regards to Pascal Stills, who I see that took a day off in his work just to follow the last round of the match. So right, like he wrote before, if Rule is not winning, that will have to pay for the day off in the work. So that's a possibility. I really like how people just get involved in those matches. Pascal was also one of the most active users during the world title match of women 2021. So it's nice to see you all, and feel free if you have some suggestions, some opinions, some questions to us. Of course, we can involve you into the stream, and we'll be glad to do it.
Did he also take the day off for tomorrow?
I don't know that. Maybe Pascal.
Okay, maybe
Pascal, will you take?
I would advise him to do so.
Yeah.
Just to be sure. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Yeah, it's very nice. I was actually thinking about this because I was thinking about the starting time of the games, and I thought because they're playing now Tata Steel Chess in the Netherlands, the tournament, and
they start 2 p.m.
Yeah, they start later because all the time when I come home in the hotel here. then I watch, no, not all the time, but I did it yesterday. Then I started to watch the streams about Tata Steel Chess, and I could do that until about 7 or maybe even later. So I thought, yeah, isn't that a better time to start the games? Because yeah, most people will work, and it's nice for them to be able to watch it live when they come home after work.
My
But
opinion.
then I also thought, oh yeah.
Yeah, just finish the thing.
And then I also thought when I okay, now I'm a trainer, so I can just decide myself when I want to work and when I want to watch streams. But when I've worked for 2 years just at the company, and back then, of course, I just watched streams during my working hours at the office. And then I thought, okay, then it wouldn't be nice to have start at 2 o'clock, because then the most exciting part is during the time when you would go home, and then you have to stay at work just to see the end of the game. So then you should stay at the office until quite late. So I don't know what the best time is.
So actually, my conclusions from the match, women's match, once we had the rounds at 11 and also the tiebreaks afternoon, and we finished the Blitz games before 7 p.m. So of course, the peak is always at the end of the stream, and we had during the Blitz games. But I think that chess streams, chess organizers just doing it well. And also, when I have the one round during the day, I would choose to make it a little bit later, like start with the hours like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. That's my opinion. And during the tournaments I organized and I was making streams from, all the time when I had the one round, I just scheduled it for the afternoon. And not many players agreed with me because they feel better with just playing in the morning and rest afternoon. But, you know, playing and showing yourself is the part of the deal and part of the promotion and part of the promise in the future. I would name it that way. And some people, because I tried to be sometime optimistic with the direction in which we are going, and I hope that if we give from ourselves a little bit more right now, then we can deserve more in the future. I have an argue with many players because they think that, okay, once there will be a bigger prize pots, then I will come directly to the rounds with the big punishments for being late, etc., etc. It's not working like that. It's not working like that because you have to sacrifice yourself a little bit more today just to have some benefits of it in the future. And the only possibility is to try to be as professional as we can be, and cooperating with Dutch people is great because they understand everything. For example, the Team NL, every time you see Rick, Roel, Martijn, Jitse, Jan, Wouter on the tournaments, it's great because they always look well. They are always participating in the sponsors events, in all the official events like opening, like closing ceremony. It's the way how it should be for everybody. For example, now, in my opinion, Alexander Schwartzman should be dressed in the suit, and it's obvious. And the dress code should be absolutely as professional as it can be. And after all, we can just make something that we can show to potential sponsors, partners, that we are treating it seriously and we are the serious business partner in it. Yeah, that's the only way. Then we can show the numbers, we can show that we are growing, we can give some promises, because something, not only promises, but also something that we already brought. And that's the only way, in my opinion, of developing drafts. And this is how I want it to be. And part of it is playing around in late hours, so it can be achievable for more viewers. And I think that only afternoon games are best during the tournaments like this, where you have only just one round in a day.
Yeah. Well, this is always the question: what's best for the viewers and for sponsors, and what's best for the players? Because yeah, it's also important that the players feel good with, for example, what they wear. And I think Alexander wears a suit for the opening and the prize ceremony, but during the game he likes to just wear jeans and the shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, maybe, yeah, I don't know if it's that important for sponsors and viewers. It's also important that the players feel good, and that's the same for the starting time. And that these are difficult topics, because for starting time, yeah, I can imagine for a player it's better to have it not that late, because then you have the tension from the moment I think you wake up. And then when you have to wait until 2 o'clock, yeah, you have this tension all the time, and you just want to play. And you have to wait and wait until the start of the game. So I can imagine that some players say, no, I like it better when we have early starting time, when I just can easily wake up, have my breakfast, go for a walk, and then I can go for the game. So
You know, after all, okay, everyone can just have advantages and disadvantages of this schedule of the day, something for, something against. But after all, the conditions are equal to both players, yeah, and it's part of your job to adapt what you need to adapt to. And if the round starts when organizer says, okay, you have to adapt somehow, yeah, you have to talk to your second, to your some, if there is a psychological, medical part, etc. of your team, and prepare yourself to start at 2 o'clock. It's part of the game, and the conditions are equal to players. Yeah, the most important, I believe, to get promoted, to develop, is bringing partners, sponsors, and money. And after we will get it, there will be chances to make it bigger. But to do it, we have to at first look at the viewers, of the ranges, of the possibilities of spreading. Yeah, is the most important, in my opinion. Not, I'm sorry to say that, but it's more important than the situation, shape, and conditions for players sometimes.
yeah, well, in that case, since saying something in advantage of Alexander Schwartzman, something he does greatly, I think, is his interviews. His interviews are always very nice, and I think that's something for the viewers is also very good. I think all viewers will keep on watching the stream for the interview afterwards, if they know Schwartzman will be there, because you know for sure if Schwartzman is there in your tournament, you already know, okay, something will happen here. And when you have an interview, you always know, okay, this will be fun anyway. Doesn't matter what he will say something funny.
Yeah, okay. The greatest option for that, it would be to white it a little bit between being funny and between being professional and serious. And Schwarzman, of course, great does it, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, when I see the pictures from the board and the players, etc., I don't feel that it should be about the about players to be in comfortable situation. I think that suit, for example, should be absolutely necessary, and just make it serious and makes it better looking in press, in TV materials. Yeah, and it's something, because okay, we are different sport and different game than chess, but chess gave us some vision of how it is serious, how it is a royal game, how it is treated by the players. Of course, if you look at any regulations of chess competitions, there you have a normal dress code, and you have, if you don't follow it, then you have the punishments, and you have to pay for it. Yeah, sometimes there are problems, because I had a talk with Łukasz Turlej, Polish vice president of FIDE. They have players who are really rich people. And that's a problem, because sometimes, you know, if he sees that coming with red trousers to the round comes with fine of 500 euros, he is okay to pay it, and he just wants to look, like he wants.
Yeah.
But he
Okay,
pays
we
this
don't. I don't
500
think we have
euros.
that problem in drafts.
Yeah.
I don't think we have that problem of very, very rich players
And it's
who
another
are
thing.
just willing to pay the bill for it.
Yeah, it's another thing that you have to adapt to. Just wear the suit, wear the nice dress if you're a woman, and you have to adapt and play it. Yeah, because not many times models, not many times people who are in the TVs, in the papers, just feel comfortable in the dresses that they wear. It's just the part of the life and being professional, and you just have to adapt.
Okay,
And about the game.
yeah,
About the
let's go
game, I
back to
saw
the
that.
game because they played something else, as you already expected. Who didn't want to play his piece on 5, and he went for this exchange.
Yeah, and going 11-16 instead of this exchange would be just too passive, I believe, for rule. Now he also blocks the way of developing for Schwarzman to take this 27 under control, because, for example, after something like 41, there are also possibilities of making the lock, but with exchange 3 for 3. I hope this will not happen, but just after some other moves of making the column here 9, 13, 18, it will be not so easy to take this 27 piece under control, because after, for example, this move, like, let's say, maybe 7, 11, oh, this is not, because this is a combination. Many combinations after all.
Yeah, okay,
just will
maybe
show it, just
show
like,
the combination.
yeah, I will just show some, okay.
Here, so the combination was like this and this, so yeah, always have to check those combinations. So that move isn't possible, so yeah, here. So 5, 10.
For example, after this move 5 to 10, of course, this is positional thing to calculate, because after that you can go to 23. But what you can do is what I said, exchanging to 27, because now this cooperation of those two pieces, 27, 29, is easily used by black with sacrificing one piece for 2 and winning the game in a simple way. So now this is something that Schwarzman is just limited a little. This piece connected to this piece in while the position looks like that, and still white has the piece on 46 that is not part of the game, and it will be the task for white to develop it, can be just not giving all the central advantage for white and stops them a little bit. And now I'm curious what Schwarzman will choose, because there are options. I think that playing maybe 41 and 36 is going to the edge of the board, but still something has to be played by the black pieces. And of course, after 1924, there is an exchange option 30 for 30. With sacrificing, giving 3 pieces for free, but like I told, I hope we will not see it, because this is just too simple, making position too simple and too clear. Maybe more interesting now would be with changing to 27, and we will have once again the 4 o'clock just after playing 13, 18, 46, and then white can develop with 42, 32, 28.
But I see now something interesting happened, because Schwarzman went to 23.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So sometimes he waits, sometimes he's firing, and now he's firing to 23, and that's another promise of interesting position, because right now he prepared a simple threat for his opponent. Right now Boomstra cannot play, for example, 4 to 10 to exchange this piece 23 in the next move, because he would lose with a simple 2 for 3 combination. Right now Schwarzman uses this column and piece 25, and the fact that he can give a piece away that way, preparing nice shot way, giving another piece and winning a piece that way. So it means that now, after going to 23, Boomstra has to somehow attack the piece or sacrifice the piece for
Yeah, that's what he did. He
option
sacrificed.
and attack there then. And he did it, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So what comes with the columns in the drafts game? You don't have the column right now, but you have the possibility of use this column with sacrificing and attacking. And this is what happened in the game. So right now, Boomstra told us, okay, I don't want to surround anymore. We are just playing for the equal position in the center. I will not be interested only in edges of the board. I will try to gain some temps like with this sacrifice, because this sacrifice will give 4 temps to rules position.
Yes, and again, we have seen this debate already so many times in this world title match, where Roel has this edge piece and Alexander has this this fork, and the question is, for who is it better? In general, in the early years of draft, we always thought, okay, this is an edge piece, so it's bad. It's bad for black here. Because it's very dangerous to go to 23, because then always you can have combinations like this. So it's better for white. But then later we thought, oh, but wait, maybe these pieces can be weak as well, because you cannot get them easily into play. If you go to 29, then you have this binding, and then you can go for a lock, like a fork lock. And also, yeah, these pieces, these are edge pieces, so if you cannot get them into play, then it can also be good for black here. So yeah, it's nice to see. I think in all matches you have some lines and some topics who keep on coming back, and this is one of the topics for this match, I think.
Yeah, this is absolute beauty of the game, because there is no such a thing, because in many areas of our life, or in many areas of analyzing the drafts game, we would like to find just a golden way, golden solution for doing something well, and there is none such a thing, because many times, I believe that move was already played.
Yeah.
Many times, something that is good in the opening or in the middle game can be a weakness in the end game. And this formation, when you have a lot of pieces on the board, of course, this is the column, this is the way to exchange, this is the way to make combination. But once you don't move it during all the game, and there's not a situation that is 15 pieces against 15 pieces, but there is 7 pieces against 7 pieces, then it would be 4 pieces standing in the side of the board, and it's not a strong part of your position, but it's a weakness, and you have to just notice that moment that your strong formations can become weaknesses. And many times, yeah, this piece 25 just limits the possibilities of developing those pieces, especially this piece 35. Edward Burzyński is the GM that wrote many books in Polish language, and he has the big influence for how we train, how we develop our draft skills in Poland. And I believe that he is one of the guys, of the grandmasters, that's really early started to play with those pieces connected, 23 and 25. We can see in many openings how he goes to the edge of the board and he easily takes the 23 piece. It's the part of his style, and in this style I believe that he is doing quite well. He understands the position, and as long as the position is logical for you, you know which piece should stand where and what is the role, what is the part of the game for this piece, then you can still play good, despite the fact if some pieces are considered bad or good.
Yeah, we see now, Schwartzman played for the exchange. There was a question whether how to take, but Roel decided to take like this first. Now he will take this piece, and now, yeah, we will get a building phase here. Now the players have to decide how to build up their position. It's kind of open now, so yeah, again, there are these lines are quite empty, so they will first build a bit on their own half on the first 4 rows, and then yeah, they play. Then they can make the real decisions for the game.
Yeah. The things that will happen now can be really a good lesson for us, the viewers, because As in every game, you need to have a plan for your strategy, how to build formations, how to develop your pieces. And right now we have kind of an open position, and we will see how the plan of players work, because some say that even worse plan is better than non-plan. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have to follow the plan that you actually will have. And it's interesting because you can develop your pieces on many different ways. For example, you can leave this piece 39 here with this column working and giving the possibility of changing 34, 30. Another possibility, going to 27 and exchanging this piece 27, or just going without an exchange to 32. Those are just small things at first sight, small things, but things that will have a big influence on the position. The question, what will Boomstra do? He will develop 5, he will try to go to 24 square, maybe build those 4 pieces against those 4 pieces, because this fork starting from the second row is considered worse than this fork, just looking like fork, started from the third row. Yeah, so now this can be also the plan of developing the pieces. Will Boomstra try to fight for 23, or he will just stand with other wing? Other question is if he will just leave the piece on 6 and try to give additional on 11 to make this Olympic formation, or just will develop 6 to try for something else. So those are small things, but now we will see great way how the players will prepare the plan and how they will realize that.
Yes, and I think, as you mentioned, this formation is important when you play with this this fork. So yeah, I wouldn't expect Schwartzman to play this move soon. But when I'm looking at the line of the engine, it says 12-18 and then play this move. So that's a new idea to play.
Option is always after something like 12-8. Okay, you can go to 33, but then you have to go 31. You will probably exchange and use this golden piece on 48, and then you will play those 2 moves to the right wing to have this formation that you are talking about. So this can be planned also.
Yeah, I think it would be even nicer for White if you would have had an extra piece on 33, because I think in general you want to play a very strong position in the center. So it would be nice to build this square, Korenievsky square, as I've been told, or diamond, or lots of names for it. What's the Polish name for this?
Just the square, From the very, I heard diamond also, but for me, from the very early stage of my work in drafts, it was the square.
Okay, yeah. So it would be nice to build it, but there's no possibility anymore, because yeah, if you go to 33, then you cannot. You should use either this or this piece, and then you cannot not build it anymore. So that's already something to think about for Schwartzman. It's not very easy to build here.
Yeah, it's not really easy to build. Of course, we cannot build this square because there is 1 piece missing for us. Only 8 pieces can be involved in building it. But one of the other strong formations, despite the columns that we are talking about, is the connection of columns. For example, like column 37 and this column 39 to 28, and it's followed and supported with this piece on 38 as the pyramid. Yeah, and those pyramids are really important formations, and we can build it with the top on 28, on 27, or 29. Of course, we do not want to build the pyramid on 29, despite the fact that we have 3 pieces that we would like to develop in some moment of the game, because after building it with 29, it would be really easy for black to make this 4 o'clock with those 4 pieces against this green pyramid, and would stop the strengths on the right side of boards of white. So I think, yeah, building the pyramid with 28 peak supported with control of 27 is the easiest and the most common plan in those kind of positions.
Yes, I don't think white will go to 29 here very quickly because, as you said, then yeah, this binding can be very dangerous. And now you see who played 13-18. Yeah, probably it makes sense because it's yeah, if you want to play it like a lock, maybe that could be one of the ideas. White cannot go to 29 because if he would go there, then you can try to lock the pieces. So it makes sense maybe to play your pieces a bit away from those pieces.
That's right. You can
A bit on
simply
the other
look
side.
what are the possibilities of white. And once white have this formation, they don't want to use it because exchanging 34-30 would make them go to the 30 with leaving 45-40 as a weak pieces, or changing to 29 would get 29 would leave black with possibilities of lock like semi-fork or the fork lock. And now, as you know that white probably will not play on their right wing, you just want your pieces to move where the actions where the action will take place. So 13-18 is natural move just to make those pieces work on the right side of things from black side, yeah, on this wing.
Although
22,
it could also
27.
be just to keep the options open, and maybe after the next move will be 8-13, that could also be a possibility. But at least you give yourself the possibility to to play a bit from that wing and keep some strength on the other wing.
And the flexibility that I really like and want in drafts.
Yeah. So keep the options open, and you can decide later what you how you exactly want to play. Yeah,
What
now
else?
the question is up to Schwartzman how to play here. Oh, looks like he decides quickly. Yeah, he will exchange there.
Okay, so he makes a use from the square 48 right now, and he just forgets about 42 square, just gets 4 attempts now more than he had before this exchange, opens the possibility of developing 46 to 36 maybe, or just even other central squares. And of course, what we are talking about, giving the possibility of playing 39, 43, and then 43 and 48 to the right side, collecting those two columns. Now we can say something about the temps in the position, because good exchange forward makes your position closer to the king. Of course, as we know, once our piece gets to the last row or the first row of your opponent, the piece becomes a king. And in international drafts, king is so solid, so valuable that most of the times the first player to get a king wins the game. And developing your position, exchanging forward, and making more and more central attacking position gives you the best possibilities of being on the king first than your opponent. And now the temps, I believe, are for Schwartzman, but we can just check it. What is your way to count the temps? Do you have some special way?
Yeah, I have a special way. I don't like much calculation, so I always check the rows, the difference in rows. So I check
annihilation of the pieces, yeah.
Yeah, I check the final line, and then I see, okay, on the final line, white has 2 pieces and black has 3 pieces. So that's one more, and they are on the final line. They're worth 1. So I check what I say to myself. Okay, this is 1 more for black, and then I check the next line, and I see, okay, 3 and 4 here. So, and these are worth 2, so it was 1 more for black, and now it's already 2 more added, so 3 more for black here. And now it's white to get some more temps. So on the next row, white has 1 more and it's worth 3, so now it's equal. And then I check the next row. So here are 4 and here are 3, so it's 1 more for white, and it's worth 4, so 4 more for white here. And then we see on the 5th row they both have one piece. So to me it's 4 up for white.
Yeah, so just after this exchange, Schwarzman, according to what Esther calculated, has 4 attempts more. So he is 4 moves closer to the king in general with his position than Boomstra is. It's really easy to calculate attempts like that with comparing the rows, like Esther showed. It's the best way, I think, the fastest way. It's really easy to calculate temps once you are online, because you can just mark the pieces, which you cannot do during the live game. And now we can just annihilate pieces, with the same number of temps, like this. Then we have 3 in this row. Okay, it's annihilate with those 2. Then 3 against 3. And 5 against 5, and also we can just annihilate this and this, because this is 3 with this, and we stay with just 1 piece on white side of things. And this means that white, like you calculated, has 4 times more.
Yeah, that's a good way for online drafts. I didn't know that advantage of Lee drafts with marking all the pieces. Well, I knew you could mark the pieces, but I didn't thought of this idea to calculate temps even more easily like this. And
you can make a nice
there are
use of it.
some people who even say it would be 3.5, I guess. Do you think about this as well, or do you always say, okay, it's just 4?
I always say 4, but sometimes I will say that 3, because maybe I will take into account the fact that black is on the move and will make just 1 more temp in this position.
Yeah, because white starts, so it would be the best to calculate the temps when black just has moved, because then you have had equal moves so far.
Yeah, what is really important, especially for the chess players, because in chess game, where white starts the game, being ahead with 1 temp is really important for the game, and you have the advantage of white pieces. Meanwhile, in drafts, the difference of 1 temp can only have some influence for the classical positions where black pieces are here on those 2 squares and black pieces are on those squares. It can happen in this game, so then maybe about classics we could say a little bit more, but there 1 temp ahead makes a difference. Meanwhile, in other types of position, mostly it does not affect the position, the result. 1 temp is just okay for both sides.
Yes. Well, at least you cannot say what's better, because also in non-classical positions you sometimes have the situation where just 1 temp difference means the difference between win and losing, for example, or win and a draw. But then you don't know what's better on forehand. You cannot say, okay, it's always better to have more or less tempos.
Now we can tell you something about the drafts history, because during early 10s of 20th century, there was a drafts player called Valdoubie. He was in the French army from Senegal, as I believe, as I remember. And he was, of course, the black player of drafts. And that time in France, especially in Paris, that drafts got a big popularity and was played in the cafes and etc. And he was the one who was beating many solid players. And also he made a problem of this classical position with difference of temps, the Dirot +1, where one of the side had 1 temp more than opponent. And especially during the beginning of 20th century, exchanging back and bringing the game to the classical positions was one of the most popular and almost only popular way of strategy in drafts game. and he published in some French newspaper the problem who is winning the position, and it's now one of the most important and one of the most well-known drafts position. It's called Val d'Aubis, and from his name, of course, and now I believe that every drafts player has to know it. I also made a video on YouTube about this position, Val d'Aubis position, with analyze for 20-25 minutes. It's that important and that well known because only sacrificing 3 pieces in this 10 against 10 pieces position gives you a possibility to draw the game. Sacrificing 3 pieces and going to the king after 3 moves gives you the possibility of making a draw. So it's amazing how long it took people to analyze it, to find the best solutions. And what is important, many times in the base we can see that that position happens in the games, and many times it was not drawn, it was lost by one of side. And even Polish multi-champion Mariusz Adamaszek playing in Tavura Masters in 2011 against Jasper Lehmann. I do send regards to Jasper. I really like the guy, and he won over Adamaszek in Val d'Aubis position in 2011.
And there are even new lines found. Did you also show the game by Roel against the African player?
I saw it. And Roel played it differently, yeah.
Someone else, and he didn't play the well-known idea, but even that turned out to be a draw. So that was also yeah,
it
nice.
Was Atse who played against Roel?
No, not Atse, I think.
So I don't remember. Yeah, but I know this game.
Maybe even another player. I'm not completely sure. But yeah, so there are even new ways found. Or maybe he just didn't know and calculated very well. Yeah, he found another way to make a draw there. Yeah, but it's not the most. If you see Val d'Aubis coming, then it's not the most nice way to make a draw, because it still can give you some difficult end games there. So if you can avoid it, it's better to avoid it.
That's right, and that's how to explain how And
this
now,
moment.
yeah, in this moment we finished.
Yeah.
So
So,
just like I talked about this position, I thought that plan of Schwarzman will be to move 43 to 39 and 41 to 47, just to make the pyramids and also the structure to the right, the column from 43 to 34. And this is something that happened, and Boomstra trying to not spread in the center for Schwarzman, destroy those structures, but by exchange.
yes, he went to 22, Boomstra. And Rick, I think that's a very common idea in this system. When you play with 25 against this fork formation, then you see a lot that black players go to 22, isn't it?
Well, I think it serves more or less a double purpose, because you don't really want the white center, because white is such a beautiful structure. You don't want to get it too big. So maybe just take it back for a second. I believe that I can also.
Yeah.
So in this move, you see an almost perfect structure for white. And the black structure is also quite well known, but I think you need this piece more or less here. Then I think it's quite balanced for black as well. But the piece on 5 at this moment is a little bit behind, so to say. It isn't really involved. And the whole idea is of black not to go to 24 too soon. That's probably quite important. However, if you keep on waiting, then white will build the formations, the columns that Damian already said. So you will play 48, 43, maybe even develop piece 46 to 36. It depends. You can also keep it on 40. You can also just keep it on 41. You can also just with this move and this move, you can just try to see what black does. Very often, black has an issue going to 17 because of combinations to field to 2. And if you don't do anything, if you just keep your position, for instance, I don't know what you guys already discussed, but in a situation like when you try to wait a little bit like this, then you also get the instances that white tries to be active with piece 34 in order to go to 30, just like this, just in order to try and get here. And white is looking at the possibility often to break with these formations and get further, get to 23 or to 24. And this is why Roel stays away from 14, because once you're here, once you're here, I think it's, we already discussed it more or less, the zigzag position. You aren't really, your columns aren't really active anymore. But you also need to be careful of ideas like, if you play something like this, there isn't a real combination right now, but still white has his eyes on this square. And you need to be very careful of all ideas with breaking a position and with all kinds of ideas, just trying to get here with this change and just trying to build your center forward. You have to be at least looking at that from the black side. That's why it's logical that Roel tries to delete the piece on 28, goes to 22, winning 2 tempos. I understood there was a discussion, but I think it's just tempos. Winning 2 tempos, but also developing his own pieces and just being able always, when this move is played, like it was in the game, more easier catch the ideas from white going towards the right. So second to this, going to 22 in such positions, it's also very clear that white is missing 2. I think Esther is already looking at it. White is missing 2 important squares, and that's 42 and 44. Which you can use in order to more or less control the piece of 22. And 42 is, I think, the most clear in this position, because apart from not having this change, because of your false tails, I think we call it in Dutch, you also can't do anything with 31, 37 right now. And this is what Roel uses just to make sure that the white center, the white structure, doesn't get too powerful. Because it is of course it's anything can still happen. Players are tired and everything, but it's also just this is a fight also about who has the initiative. White is hoping on a structure, and black is more or less hoping on a sort of control mechanism with a lot of flexibility. And that's the clash, to say it like this, I think, at this moment. So by going to 22 and 25, you're trying to break white center and to just hope the more pieces are off the board, the weaker this gets. So you're just hoping that this stays from the black side, this stays forever. From white's perspective, you're hoping to just that all these pieces become weak. So ideally, black would develop piece 5 and play against this, for instance. Okay, 31-26.
Okay, so so 12-18 and 31-26. This was just the last move. So do you think the plan for white is to try to go to 24, as you spoke about, or to just, as you also said, wait and just hope these pieces, or at least those 3, will become weak?
No, I think because of rule played also change to 22. I think the fight will largely take place at this moment at the other side of the board. White can't really reach this, because at this point, if you I will just play 5-10 to show some ideas, which is not the best move because of 26-21, but we can apparently
Just to show the
just to show the idea. So if you go like this, there are always ideas for black to activate or to take this 4 o'clock, or at least, so you don't allow for this change. You can also, in some instances, go to 12, because if you go to 12, this of course is never possible. Not easy to, because the 1-4-2. But the idea is now that you try to control the moment that it goes here, and the same goes for when you go to 29 with a change. I can push you away from the center at this moment. I can this at this moment isn't a real big threat anymore. So we're just trying to catch every kind of initiative white tries to gain here. But at this moment, like I said, the fight is taking place on the other wing, and as I already mentioned, the computer also gets very enthusiastic about white's position suddenly, because apparently this is a strong move right now.
Yeah.
And the idea is, which is quite funny, of course, it's I'm not really sure what happens if I just wait, but apparently you get into a forced line, more or less. So it goes like this, and this, and now there's a really nice combination.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very nice shot, making use of the majority rule here. So we can wait a little, maybe for our viewers to see it themselves.
Because in a way, you could say that these kind of structures on a positional level could be what black is striving for, because we have a sort of a surrounding position with black, more or less using 22 and more or less using 25 and being close to 24. We could call this a sort of Podkoa position, but currently, there's a devastating combination which makes this position so terrible at this moment. And
do you know the English word for gatenkaas?
No, I don't know the English word for it. It's cheese holes, I think. But
yeah, I think if you have so many gaps in your position, you should just be very careful and think, okay, there should be a combination somewhere here.
In Poland, we say about something like Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese, I think. Yeah. It's like Swiss cheese, indeed. Yeah. So I think, and does in Polish does this combination have a name? That I see these ideas, or
No. Actually, I did not find it in any literature, in any books, in any literature. No. I don't know name at all.
Well, because what struck me, I think in Poland draft language, there are more standard combinations. I already remember that of course, the book, the Strategia Tactica book from Brzezinski has had a new edition. But I remember owning this book also when I was quite young, because the first print was in '97, and there were already quite some combinations right there, some standard combinations of which I didn't know the name, like Udatseni Haka, and I don't think we in Dutch we don't.
Perforator.
Perforator. I think there are kind of names that we don't have.
Operacyjne, uderzenie, hack. That's right. That's all the names. Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, many names of the same ideas were printed differently in different books, because it also depends on the author and translator. So sometimes there is the moment of creativity of the translator, and sometimes it has an influence on how people know the combination. It changes. The same idea sometimes is named twice differently.
Okay, so Esther showed the combination. It's a very nice example of having to take the majority rule here. Black cannot go here and black cannot go here. But black has to take 3. And this is why apparently 5-10 is a little bit tricky. Apparently. And the fun thing is that if you take like this, if you play like this, then the idea would be that normally, of course, black would have a threat like this. But if you look a little bit better, you would see that this might not be a real threat, because after that white can do something as well, and you always have this fun idea with allowing a combination because you have a combination after that. So if black would take right now, I'm not saying that this is really special for white, but at least black with a little bit of awkward edge positions and a little bit holes, white being able to catch all these pieces. Of course, at this level, probably black should be able to hold, but there are some interesting ideas, I think, with playing 26-21. But I already see that Roel plays 7-11, which is, of course, the best move. And I can imagine that a player of the strength of Schwartzman and Boomstra, they see these ideas after 5-10, these ideas with 26-21. I think Schwartzman also told about, we had a game with all kinds of, with the Agafonov gambit, in Dutch is called the Drost gambit, with some standard combinational ideas, and in a lot of positions that are more or less standard, top players know the main idea. So both players will know that in these kinds of positions, they have to be very careful about this move. They have to be very careful about that. If they're not careful, you have to be able to counter this move. And yeah, I think this looks like a very, very, very logical move, because if you play like this right now, then black can do something which gives black a fantastic position.
Yeah, there is a difference now between the previous line, at least. There's no piece on 23 at this moment. So we see now this is a very good move, and now you cannot just play a move and allow the combination, because as there's no piece on 23, then this will just be a 1-for-2, and you just lose a piece.
Yeah, and if you okay, so if you have to, the only way to defend against, well, you have 2 ways you can play this, but this is never an idea that you play for in order to create something, because black, we mentioned this move before, wins a piece with this. If you play like this, then I simply play like this, or something else, doesn't matter, you can also play 13-18, and I also can't close because of this, so it's winning 2 pieces even. And I think that, and it looks logical just to make sort of a change, but here we can talk about, even though this is not completely clear yet, and I also don't think that Schwartzman has played something else. It's very often that if you have a sort of stalemate-like structure at one side of the board, it's all about the situation on the other side of the board. So we could say that these pieces from black against these from white more or less create a sort of status quo, a position that doesn't change. So in order to evaluate these kinds of positions properly, you have to look a little bit at who has initiative on the other side. And at this moment, Black has it quite clearly, because Black has a very strong piece on 27, which can't be pushed away. Well, it can be pushed away, but then Black gets this piece against this piece, and that's, well, practically winning already for Black. And if you don't do that, then it's just a question, where can White go? Because if you try to go to 29 again, I will just simply lock you. And if you change something, well, then after that, Black can go ahead and control all these squares, and you have a very good attack on 27.
Yeah, and here the problem also was that you didn't have this this formation, so you couldn't exchange the piece on 27. Yeah. Yeah, and this is we always have some topics to come back all the time, and this topic of being locked or have this status quo, as you said, on one side of the board, then it's about control on the other side of the board. It's also a topic we discussed already multiple times, so it's good to see that. I think our viewers who watched all our streams, they learned quite a lot about these topics here.
Yeah,
I would like to ask a question, if I can, because just as Alexander made a move, Ruel was not around the board, and I have a question because during the chess world title match between Magnus and Jan Nepomniachtchi, the players did have a special room to sit down to see this the game, just the game, not the stream, of course. And could spend time there, and there was a situations like no one was around the board after the move because each one was going to their room. Do players have something like this, free rooms for themselves, for them?
No, and I think the main reason is they maybe they could have, but I think everybody can see they're in a big auditorium. It's not a concert hall, but it's an auditorium. There are no locker rooms or something really placed directly in it, so they will have to go through a general area, which makes them go past perhaps public and everything. So I think the best, but they have an entire auditorium, as you can see, with no spectators, alas. So I think they can also rest a little bit on the chairs, and I think I recognize this wish that during a game sometimes you like to sit down for a moment, but not behind your board. Because it's also a way of relieve your stress a little bit, just to be able not only to walk around at this moment. You can't walk around to watch another game because there are no other games, but at least just to get the tension out of your body a little bit, and also sometimes just to visualize certain variants a little bit. So I think I can imagine that I know that, for instance, Schwarzman, I think this has been already discussed, is known a little bit for walking a bit around and singing himself also a little bit. He has a sort of way also just to relieve himself. And I think Roel more often goes to sit somewhere, just on a chair, think a little bit, just try to stretch his arms and legs a little bit. But of course it would have been also very, very well for these players if they had these opportunities to go back and rest during the game.
But then the question also is, Damian, that's a question from me to you, because you said we should do everything not for the players, but better for sponsors, for viewers. And I think for viewers, it's very nice to see the players behind the board. So what do you think? What's better, to give the players these options, or to not give them?
Of course, we can't force them to sit all the time next to the board, but many times during the chess match, there were questions like how it is possible that no one is near the board. So I think that only possibility is logical that, okay, you can leave the board when you are not on the move if your opponent sits next to you. So I would make it that way because, just to avoid strange situations like no one is next to the board.
Yeah, okay, so you prefer the way it is here. Yeah.
And also, what's interesting, of course, is during that match, I think one of the moment that Jan Nepomniachtchi blundered, he blundered and he went away. And you saw Carsten sitting down and raising his eyebrows. What happened? we got to see that Schwartzman was clearly not aware that he blundered with 41-37 a few days ago. He was clearly not aware that it happened. However, when Jan made the blunder in the chess match, he was gone out of sight. We had no idea what was going through his mind. Later on, he also said that he also didn't see it until Carlsen, because I don't know, I'm not a chess player, so I didn't really understand what he did see and what he did and did not see. But I do for a spectator, it's of course interesting to be able to watch everyone at all times. And of course, toilets aside, let it be very clear, of course, but if you're talking about a couch where somebody lies on, I assume also Carlsen and Nepo were watched by referees when they're in the restroom, in their locker rooms or wherever they were, or on their beds or couches or whatever. So it's interesting. It's also interesting because in a certain way you're not allowed to leave the play. It's a rule that you're not allowed to leave the playing hall without any good reason. And the only reason nowadays I can think of is often to go to the toilet. So.
Yeah, and another time we have the conclusion, I believe, that shorter time can be more interesting for the viewers, because during rapid or blitz game, there's not such a possibility as standing up from the board and leaving the playing area, because you don't have time for it, and all the time spectators can see what is happening on the faces of the players.
Okay, and now if we look at the current position, Roel played 11-17. Yeah, so what now about the position? Was that a move you did expect?
Well, yeah, it's like the line I showed before, more or less. So I think I think it's a way you want to allow white to go to 28, because if you go to 28 right now, it's more or less locked there. I think that's how you want it. And now you can see also the weaknesses of namely piece 42 being there, because if black manages to take out this piece right now, he has a small combination towards here, and this is a scenario which white would like, with apologies, black would like, because at this moment, for instance, I think you have a small threat right here. I'm not really sure if it's winning, by the way, but oh yeah, I have to finish my arrow.
Yeah.
And in these instances, you can hope at least that white has to do something passive, like change back with 31-27, or take this change, for instance, which is also a little bit passive, because if we're just looking from the side of who has the initiative, at this moment, I think you already discussed this, these kinds of developments are always in favor of black. Why? We can see now that there are less pieces on the board, so this becomes more clear. And next to that, black has the option right now, maybe to involve piece 5 into the game. So, of course, both players are aware of this, but this is why Roel doesn't shy away from allowing to get locked more or less with 32-28. This is something he wants, and he now will proceed probably with trying just to build a few columns. Schwartzman, of course, knows this and also plays 46-41 right now. And Roel would just build this pyramid right now here, still using the same ideas. And also asking Schwartzman, okay, what will you do? Because if Schwartzman is not allowed to, well, not allowed, or if this is not really interesting for white, well, of course, this is not, you cannot play this. And going to 29, we more or less discussed, it's also not the most ambitious idea. And I failed to say before that, for instance, in this situation, if you go like this, there are also instances possible. I'm not saying that this now is the idea, because, well, these pieces are not here. So there are instances possible that black tries to surprise white a little bit by changing like this. And when you're a young player, you learn that 22 and 24, these two pieces are more or less a bad connection. Because if white gets a piece here and white gets a piece here, then you're getting chain locked. However, in these kinds of positions, you can't reach that, and white doesn't also have this or this because these two pieces are missing. So these are also the ideas that white has to take, be very careful with. So now, if 6-11 is played, and I assume this will be played and Roel plays this, it's not easy, it's not very clear where should white go with this position. Of course, white can always change 34-30, maybe times 30. White can change 31-27. But this is, I think, what black is hoping for, that white gets some problems with where should I go. Because, Damian, which position do you actually like better?
I believe black one.
Even though the piece on 5 is, because
Even though the piece on 5, yeah, because I believe that in front of white there is a tough decision that I would not like to have.
But I remember that Esther told her students that the pieces on 5 and 46 are the first pieces you should develop in a game. So is this an exception, or how should we look at that?
There are always exceptions out of the rules that we have to follow. So, okay, you have the general ones, but still many exceptions in the game and many things and situations that are dependent on something. Something can be weak, something can be good. It depends. Now the piece on 5, I believe, is less trouble as the pieces will just be exchanged in future because it has to be done, and then the way for 5 will be opened and put this piece in the game.
Yeah.
Well, I could also say this is just a mistake by Roel. He should have done this earlier. Now he's too late. He cannot do it anymore. He should have done it earlier, and then this piece could have already be somewhere in the game.
But the reality is that certainly at a high level, it's not there was no chance in this game for Roel to develop the piece on 5 in a way that he could still also fight for the initiative. So his way of putting the gambit with 14-19 and 4-10 early in the game, he needed the piece on 5, and now it's just the fact that 5 isn't in the game. But if, for instance, 5 would be on 4, then I think the evaluation of the position would be more in black's favor. I have to be very honest, the current position in the game after 6-11, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if it's better for someone, I'm not really sure, but it has to be said that because both players are, they're the best players in the world, so they're playing best moves. Roel's changing to 22 is really strong in order to make sure he doesn't get pressured, but also Schwartzman understands very well what's on stake here. So right now, it's the question, Schwartzman understands that if he plays 41-36 right now, he knows that normally 8-12 will come. I think 11-16 is the downfall of 32-27, because after 8-12, you want the option, I don't say you're doing it, but you want the option at least to go to 28. If you play 11-16, well, you're more or less locked in this way. I'm not saying this is deadly at this point. It's not very clear, but this piece is just weak. It's an edge piece at this moment. It doesn't really do anything, and now it's part of a bigger formation. So probably this will come, and then Schwartzman has to think, okay, if I play 41-36, 8-12 will come, and what have I achieved? Do I want to change forward, for instance? Which is actually, of course, it's normal possibility. It's a way to try to take the center, but as we already found out, there's a difference between taking the center or taking a square and controlling it. Because white took the square, took the piece on took the square 27 right now. But the question is, do you actually control? Because you might get pushed back right now. And at this moment, I don't think there is really something to do for white, even though I don't understand just yet. After this, it will be probably 11-16 again.
Just as we saw earlier.
Yeah, with the strong piece for black here again. But yeah, white can of course change right now, and yeah, it's also a little bit. But it's also a little bit, yeah, these kinds of positions, but however, in my personal opinion, I don't really know what white has to look for in this kinds of position, because we more or less have 4 edge pieces. They aren't really doing anything. The only way they can do something, if they're by some way, or they can more or less lock the pieces here on this wing, or you can go to the center. Black has a little bit more ideas to control some central pieces. I think it's a little bit too thin to really talk about something, but we're talking about initiative more than winning or losing. I like this a little bit more for black, because black has some options right now to go to 22 perhaps.
Yeah, and also if you just play a move with black, you can use these pieces to go to 24, but probably this is not a good idea at the moment, right?
No, because we've almost seen this, even though it's, like I said, it's a really thin position, I think you would say. There are hardly any pieces on the board. Black can isolate quite easily. Black can first play this and probably try to isolate with this after that, or just do this immediately. I'm not really sure about this, because you have to be a little bit careful, but but what I mean is it's not active for white at all. We're also, Schwartzman, which is logical, also wants, it's also the way they are sitting behind the board. You want to be the player that can stand up after the game and say, I had the active position, look at my opponent, had to try and keep it equal. What I just showed, I think, is not really something that Schwartzman will be very enthusiastic about. But I find it hard myself to find something for white which makes you enthusiastic. Damian, maybe do you have an idea what you could play? Something else for white, or?
The reason why I told you that I prefer black pieces is that I do not want to play that with white, and my point of view, the simplest game I can choose is to play to 36 and exchange to 27, and nothing else that I would risk in this position.
Yeah, sometimes, of course, if like I said, if for some reason all these pieces more or less can get locked, then sometimes white can also try to find something on the other wing. But even I'm just giving an example. If you play something like this, there are various ideas for black now to proceed. I think black can go to the center suddenly play his pieces away with huge threats, which also, well, huge enough. I think he will force white more or less to go back, because after this, I can try at least to go here, but there are so many edge pieces for white here. I'm also not really sure how interesting it is, but this is just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Black can also at any point just wait a little bit, trying to get 5 into the game, but always black has the idea at least to play most active. It's black idea at this point just to take the center and try to keep these pieces out of the game more or less. And this would be a real aggressive way for Roel to play. And we see that not both players don't have like 5 minutes. There's no reason, just if such a position would occur after 30 times 30, Roel for sure would also look at more active, aggressive options. He would evaluate them well and just have a small look what would be the best idea at this point.
After all, we have to remind ourselves and we have to remind the viewers that those might be the last moves of the match. Once Roel wins it, it's over. We don't come back tomorrow for the tiebreaks. And now Schwartzman landed on 36.
Yeah, I think it's the most logical decision to keep. I think it's maximum options. I don't know if Roel has any real option himself. Going to like I said, going to 16, I don't really know. It's not very logical, I think. I think white can do various things. Also just go, maybe now this is different, because after you play this, I can really try to get, now I do have control over the center. And I can imagine that 1823 is well, I never want to play this move because of this. Normally I have a combination like this now. For instance, with this, but this can be interesting. But I can see now that you have a very interesting combination like this right now.
Yeah, that's a funny one.
It's like this. But these are situations now. White suddenly controls everything, and this is a situation in which this piece, this triangle, to say it like this, has become quite weak actually. So
we have 12.
We have a 12. Yeah. I think it's.
It comes with flexibility and space for black, and no.
So why doesn't Roel play this move in 1 second? Well, it's always important to have a small check just to keep a broad overview, because you never know if you're going to miss something. I think this match already showed us with the combination Roel made against Schwartzman, but also Schwartzman's own brilliant move with 23-28 in the third match game. I think always have to look out there. Roel doesn't want that suddenly at this moment. This is a very strong move. This is threatening, and he can do anything. He needs to be sure that this is, for instance, working properly, and which is working very well for Roel, because this will leave White, I think, with a bad position. I don't know how bad the position is. It's quite ugly. This piece is alone, and this piece, for instance, is most behind. We can see it, I think, best just to show something. If you would, I have no idea what is the best move. If I would play like this, it's maybe not the best move. Maybe I should push you away. But if you would, for instance, play like this, these are famous ideas that this is probably completely losing for White, because this piece is not in the game and won't be in the game, because Black will never allow this piece to go anywhere. So Roel has to check, and we can already see our predictions are very well that Schwartzman is changing, going back. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's probably most active of the best. I said it's not. I don't think it's very interesting, but you can also make a case for maybe also now Roel also has problem finding a more interesting continuation, because the same combination is a problem that if you play 5-10. 32-28 is a very strong move, because after 18-23 you have. Oh, I don't understand. Why is it not saying Mike? Oh, okay, probably. But I want to take this again.
Yeah.
But there is something the matter now, probably, apparently.
Something better that doesn't.
Oh, it's a change. It's a change now, of course. Okay, so this change you shouldn't. Okay, I can imagine that this is quite terrible for Black indeed, because. For White, because there is no wing and this piece can just go here. Okay, sorry. So, but this is interesting. He goes, okay, so he has.
Oh, now they're playing quite quickly.
So it went like this. So Schwartzman, it went like this, and he doesn't want to go to the sides, which is more or less passive. So he goes to the center.
Okay, so he waited quite long, just as in the other game where he had this formation. He waited long with exchanging, but now he does exchange to 29. And of course, the first question which comes to my mind is, okay, what about this this lock now? Why isn't it any problem for Schwartzman, or at least he doesn't find it a problem here?
Well, the idea is that if you want to have a semi-4 clock, I think it is. I think the most important thing, I think that you also have space at the other wing, or more or less have a sort of Podkova position, or you can change the center away. Well, at this point, White has a very easy development to the center. There are no more pieces behind, more or less, that are not in the game. White has nothing to fear at this wing, probably. It might still be the best idea for Roel, but you're not really holding a lot. I think White will just play 45-40, maybe even starting with this move. The only thing you have to be very certain of, if you play like this, if Black goes forward, the idea is you need to be able to get this piece into the game. Because if you're not allowed to do this anymore, and you have to be a little bit careful right now. I played it a little bit silly, I see. So the idea is that in some instances, this is why I wanted to prevent this. So I will just do I will do something else. So for instance, in this situation, I'm not really sure this is the best idea. In this situation, you have a strange idea, but I'm stepping to 100 combinations. I will do something else. I will do this just to show my point. In these kind of ideas, this is something you can hope for in these kinds of positions, because now you have a misplaced piece on 45. And you can never play this move again due to 1823, which gives you a breakthrough. And again, these are more standard ideas, not something that Alexander Schwartzman would fall for. Roel knows this, of course, but these are the kinds of positions that you're hoping for in some ways if you go for such a semaphore clock. And for instance, now if white would play like this, then 5-10 would go. And the idea is, even if you go once, you never can afterwards. You're out of moves because of this is not possible and this is not possible anymore. And also when you're waiting, and of course I already see that Roel has not even played 1924, which is most logical not to do. So the idea is just to if the idea of the semaphore clock would be to do this. However, Schwartzman knows this and probably would simply start by playing this in order to, after this, he even has a very nice gambit here.
Oh wow, that's nice. So now you can even play this move, and you cannot take like this because then white will take 2 pieces, and if you take like this, then the funny moment comes here that you just play this move.
Yeah, with a very important idea that at this moment you have to attack from the right moment, because this will win. But if you do like this, then it's more I don't know what the English term for lockset is, a luring move, a tricky move, because after this you will just And it also has to be said that we now discussed 1924, and we now discussed this. So this is a good move. Also important that sometimes this can also be a tricky move, because almost this could be very smart for black, because if it would be like this, it's about, because this piece is hanging. Because if it wouldn't be hanging, you would have this idea and this. Well, sadly for black, white can take like this now. But otherwise, if this piece would be there, for instance, now you would have this with a winning position for black. So 5-10 has been played, and now 29.
Schwartzman went to 24.
Yeah, but at least these were all very instructive ideas, because this is the difference between grandmasters and just normal players. Normal players can, after this move, just don't look very good at the position and just play a normal move, maybe to the center, and then find out that after this move there's a problem with 45. But of course, these players they all know about this and they see it instantly.
Yeah.
So, do you think about this continuation? Do we go? Are we going to a quick draw from this plan of Schwartzman, or just there will be some tries of winning it still?
No, I think I think the chances, for instance, that 32-28 will be played, and maybe 14-19, and then if there is no combination, which I don't
If
see.
not, exchange will be played and finish of the game maybe.
Yeah, I'm afraid that, because I said it's not a very active plan for Schwartzman as well, but the problem is if both players understand that they need to play bad moves in order to maybe create chances. Like 45-40, which is probably it's a little bit more interesting than 32-28. And I also hope that we didn't miss anything with 32-28. Yeah, okay, it's also nothing.
Still, once I have chances, maybe I will ask you, Rick, as you are the head coach of KNDB national team, what is your influence during the match for Boomstra? Do you have like something like personal meetings with him about some mental part, psychology or something, or are you just staying away during the match?
We have I think Wouter already answered that before. Roel and Wouter are in charge together with Roel, so that is very Rob and Wouter, pardon me. Rob Klerk and Wouter Sitmar are both the coach during the match. So they are in the lead regarding rules, coaching, training, everything he needs during the match. And my role at this moment is more on the background, which it should be, I think, if you make such an idea. I think we're extremely fortunate to have people like Wouter and Rob still in our program. I think most Dutch people will also know that Rob retired on January 1st. He was supposed, if there would have been a world title match in January 2021, he would also be the coach of Roel. But now, a year later, thankfully, he's also been willing to do this job. And Wouter has already also been, Wouter is a top player himself with an A status, number 6 of the world, if I'm correct. Former 3rd of the world in Rapid. Well, I can name so many good achievements from Wouter as well, let alone Rob, who has more national titles than anyone, has almost become world champion in '96. Well, there are too many things to know. I'm very fortunate to have these people helping the team. But for myself, for Alexander Belyakin, also technical director Jorn Kruijnbrink, during the match, we try to help as much as we can in the background. But my contact personally is mostly with, well, at this point, it's with Wouter and with Rob to help them to see if they need anything. And if there's any request by Roel, then they will tell me and I will try to help them or think about it with them. So we try to keep it clean that way, just to make sure.
Okay.
And now I see a question in the chat for you, Rick, whether you also give trainings to club players. I don't know if this is a kind of invitation here for you.
Well, before some may know that I've been employed by the KNDB since 2009, and in the first 12 years I was the so-called talent coach. Actually, the job Esther has right now for the girls and women, I had for boys and men. And during that time, I also was the principal coach and trainer of the club from Wageningen, WSTV. The club I also played together with Schwartzman, also with Esther, also with Groenendijk. But I was the principal trainer and coach there. But currently, since I am now the head coach of the federation, I have not been giving any trainings to club and also not playing anymore.
I see now that people really want to do you other stuff as well, because now the next question is that you should write a drafts book, and already the first buyer is here also already, because the person who asked this said he will buy it any day.
Well, I'm very honored, but maybe just to make I can write a drafts book, but I think it's most important to say something about people that do write draft books, because I know how hard it is. There are so many good books. I have a very personally, I have a very big library with because I'm also just a collector, but also I find it very important to support people in the drafts world that are writing. If it's books or even subscriptions to magazines like Hoofdlijn or The Problemist, we find these things very important. But I also see Edwin Twist in the chat. I do hope, for instance, that there are other people like, for instance, also Edwin, who also could write a book someday. Edwin, I know, is already very active in The Problemist also, but he is one of the persons that also has helped me a lot when I started out, also as a talent coach, with providing me with a lot of material, sharing a lot. And I know Edwin also from a long time. So I think there are also a lot of other candidates who can be very good writers.
And maybe in this moment I can make a small statement, because to all the people on the chat, and not only, please remember, we as the drafts community are quite small, and if someone finds the time, the passion to write a book, please do not copy it, please do not publish it on the internet for free. Just buy it, help the people that are trying to sacrifice some time and attention to write this book and to spread the drafts knowledge. So I believe this is also the part of our attitude to support our drafts creators.
And there are already some suggestions even for your book, Rick. So someone is suggesting you should write a biography. And actually, Edwin Twist is a common thing as well. He wants to write it together with you. So yeah, I don't think you can do something to that. Yeah, you should do it now.
No, well, I'm a little bit too young to write biography, I think. And Ditlau actually, just to comment on that, he said bait move, which is of course the right term for lock set.
Yeah.
And I remember Pascal still, I remember indeed that I also worked with Pascal when I was, I think in 2012, we had the European Championship in Emmen. Of course, I think both players, Roel and I don't know if Damian played there, I don't think so actually.
I didn't.
But I remember Roel playing there, probably Alexander also played there. But I was in, I think I think at that moment we tried to help a lot of foreign players just to be able to compete in the European Championship. But for a lot of players, Pascal was, I think, representing Ireland or Northern Ireland. My apologies, Pascal, if I don't remember which one you chose back then. But I think it was Northern Ireland back then. And I think I was helping day in and day out. I think people from Hungary, Northern Ireland, just to comment on their games a little bit, while Rob, who was the head coach at that time, was busy being in charge with all the top players of the Netherlands. But it was a really good memory. I think I worked together a little bit with Marcel Kostas back then, who was in charge of international relations from the KNDB, also helping also a lot of federations back then. Yeah, those were good memories, I think.
So it looks like the draw is being forced.
Oh, this is what happened. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes in between. So this looks like a problem here for white because either you take one piece or you take two, even to a king here. But yeah, there's the sticky move for Schwarzman here. He can play it like, can you choose even or?
So it looks like the players agree that we do meet tomorrow and bring some other drafts emotions to the viewers.
So
Well,
you go
I
for
think.
king.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, just to finish it, and you can take a piece here, but then of course white will go to king as well.
So I heard at the beginning of the stream, Esther, you talked about that it could be that today, the last time it was a quick draw or something. Neither of the players came today to play a quick draw. It's very easily, but it's not in draws. I think in many games, it's not always possible to create something out of nothing, or both players need to be able to. I think it turned out to be after the opening. I think both players played the best moves. I think that's important. Roel has been telling it all the time. He just tries to play the best moves, try to create something in the opening, but whatever happens, he tries to create the best moves. And even though both players have 40 minutes on the clock, it would be a bit ridiculous if they, just because it's the last game, they would just stay put and just let the clock run and then agree to a draw. I think it's good for the draws world that both players will be well rested for tomorrow now.
Yes, I think we can say if you have a position like, for example, this after 12 moves, then you cannot say, or even this maybe you cannot say it's an easy. It was an easy draw here. They came for some entertainment here today. They gave it to us, and then only at some point late in the game, it was clear that no one was going for a win anymore, because there just wasn't any possibility to go for a win there.
Well, but let me just to stand still at one moment at this position. It's also about what does a player want and what does a player feel like. At this moment, white can go for any attack possible. So white can go to 24, because to be clear,
So there we are. Hello,
Okay.
Alexander.
Hello.
How do you feel about the game today?
Oh, I feel okay. I don't know about rule because first he start to play, and after that he stopped to play.
Ah, that's interesting. Okay, so at what moment do you think he stopped, in your opinion?
Maybe
yeah,
just
we can
changing
see-
to
we can show
22.
you
Yes,
the-
when
from
he
the
changed
start,
17,
yeah.
22, if you start play surrounding, please continue.
Okay,
Always why you start.
that's interesting.
I'm
that's
sure, but
interesting.
because this position can be on his board yesterday or 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I don't know. It's very easy to calculate this. I mean, at home,
Uh-huh.
it can be because my move was very logical, but probably he's even more tired than me.
Could be, could be. Okay, maybe you can show it from the start, and you can tell
But
us everything.
not
you
from my.
want. Oh, is it not?
This is not what I can show nothing.
Oh.
What I must do, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, redraft. You make replay for redraft. Okay. Okay, that first he repeat opening when he won one time after 11-16,
Yes.
2019.
but he don't want to see what I prepare. Maybe I prepare nothing. I don't know. Maybe he did. And then it was a little bit not new move, but new for our match. So he start to play surrounded, but when he saw then I play quick. But if I play quick, it not means then I know something here. I just play quick because I just make move together. And what I don't know what he expect because
Yeah, our question was here. If you
Question.
want to go for attack. You
I
could
want to
try
go,
it,
yes,
right?
but first he must move something.
Yeah, but you can try it here as well. Is it not possible to go to 23 or 24 at this moment?
No, 23 this moment is not the best. At least he can play 11, 16, and I cannot already move like this because this combination.
Okay.
So I was. Oh no, 2-7.
2 seconds. Yeah.
Looks good, huh? Yeah.
That looks good. Yeah.
But did you think about going to 23 with the piece 28?
Really, I was thinking, but after he goes to 21, but he didn't go to 21.
And because if you do it now, it's not good.
To 23?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this I like more for black because no, to 23 I go when he moved 5-10. If he moved 5-10,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
another
absolutely.
story. But now, no, that's I like much more. He just play and wait, and I have a lot of I have some weakness. Just go and what I can do later. I don't know. No, this position I like more for black.
It's not possible to continue here with
Maybe
white.
it's possible, but I think that's what they are waiting.
Okay.
Because this position,
Yeah.
I have no piece on 49. And what I will do later, I don't know. Change, okay? He will just move pieces, and then this piece maybe later he will be in attack because he has no weakness. Of course, if he play like this, no, which one? Last one, please. No, one move more. For example, this. Then, of course, this is another story because this piece is bad. This is okay. But when he don't move this piece, that's why I waited what he
Okay, you
will
were
do.
waiting for.
I was waiting for him. No, I want to see what he prepared, but he don't want to show. Oh, okay. So in game was what was in game?
And going to 24 was also not an option you liked. So or
24,
maybe
not-
before,
not-
yeah, here.
Not really, because he wait, and then I must always think about this piece. Maybe later he'll go in attack, and I lose. So I can do like this. No, you take wrong way.
Yeah.
Always I take
Yeah.
to 23.
Yeah, so first.
Yes,
so
no.
First this one.
First
yeah,
this, it's very
Okay,
important.
like this, yeah.
Yes, but this one, you know, he can play without any risk, even like Sicils. Then I must think about attack because I have not this piece. It's possible, but it's you will not
You
take
don't
risk.
like it.
No. I must spend energy to think about how to defend. He can change any time, so it means I want to play, but this moment he don't like something.
So what did you expect instead of 1722 that he exchanged?
I expect this one. Yeah, I expect something like this.
And what was your
But-
plan for it?
I don't know to show or not because it's okay. No, I don't know. That was interesting position. But for example, maybe this, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm cheating. I don't know. But you know the problem. I think there is such position in another opening, and I think then it's a different tempo. We will see now. For me, it's interesting. And then I was calculate this position. But I don't know. For example, maybe this. Yeah, if this, then I see something interesting. Like yes, my calculation is good. And then where I must take. Oh yes, it's good for me. That's I see.
Wow.
Yes, that's I see.
Double threat, yeah.
Yes, this and then here. But if 7-11. So yes, probably different. And then 24. That's why the rule reviews. Yeah, that's. Yeah. That's so. That's what I think he saw this, and I also see this. Unfortunately, for him. And this is like forcing. But it's strange. It's something by tempo. By tempo, what I want to see. One other variant, but I think different with tempo. So we go to another variant. First 10 minutes is free. You know. I want to see if it is by tempo the same or not, because I played many times and I know something. Of course, rule knows everything, but I know something.
This
So-
opening line is called After You, right?
Yeah, no, like this. And what is this? It's the same tempo or not? Maybe Damian.
It is the same tempo.
Yes?
No,
Obviously.
I heard there's a difference between in this move.
Wait,
It's not played.
is it the same tempo?
So now that he's on
I
six, it's
think
not
yes,
played,
it's the
right?
same.
Ah, that's the same. Bit on one. Yeah, okay. Maybe the same. So, yeah, that's. So then forcing variant speech. Probably rule sees it. And then he said, well, after that, so he's tied. Don't play anymore for winning. Very bad.
Yeah, well, he just wanted you to go for 223 and 24 one move earlier.
What I can do now, I can make a conclusion for myself for this match, for the classical part.
Okay, yeah.
Well, especially last games was quite interesting, and we play. And okay, after 12 games, I lose one classical game by big mistake, not more. And then of course, I didn't use great chances in game number 3 because probably if I use these chances, maybe it could be absolutely another story, another match. But it's my fault. Yes. But as a game, okay, I lose tie break after 6 hours, so not so bad for very old people like me. So I think I can even be almost satisfied with this match.
Do you feel exhausted right now after 12 games?
Yeah. What you asked?
Do you feel exhausted and tired after 12 games?
Yeah, very tired. Yes, very tired. But Rule too. Very
Yeah, everyone
tired
that
because
plays a match says that it is really exhausting and tiring. Yeah, that's right. Maybe that's the part of the strategy not to force each other today, and Rule just took the simple game and make it to the tie breaks. I have another.
physically he is stronger, but who knows?
I have another question
want-
to you. I don't know if you answered already in previous days, but as you are 10-time Blitz world champion,
Yes.
do you expect that? Would you like maybe to play shorter Blitz time than 10+2? Maybe 5+2 or 3+2 would be better for you?
I don't know, but I remember just last match when Rule play all this discipline even fantastic. So no, I just will play. But yes, I don't know what will be. Maybe tie break, little chance for the Super Blitz. It's you never know. But I have to win 3.
3 games, yeah.
Yeah, for me will be interesting if I will one, and maybe something can change. If
So do you
not,
think it is still possible to change the situation in this match to be back?
everything is possible. Why not?
You have
I
to
just-
believe yourself,
I
because
just
otherwise it
must
doesn't
win
make
3.
sense to fight. Yeah?
I don't think it will happen, but if it will happen, then of course people will say, "Oh, what is this? He didn't win any classical game, and he became world champion." Blah blah blah. But doesn't matter. Rule if it is such rules, yes. I mean,
Well, I think if you
everything
do
is
so,
possible. Not big chance. To be honest, of course, it's not big chance. But you never know.
but I think if you do so, people won't complain, but they will say this is the comeback of history. That would be
Even
this is
was
your
more
chance
comeback,
to
like,
even write more history than you already
Kasparov
did.
has a, but it was little bit another story. But still, Kasparov has a score 0-5, and then come back till
Yeah,
3-5.
okay, that's
and
also a
yes.
very big.
was enough. Was enough.
Yeah.
Maybe if I will win 1 or 2 games, they will say it's enough. Both, we are both champion. Also not bad.
Yeah.
Yes, Rick, I think is agree with this one. Who knows? So yeah, just of course, for Rule result is much more important than for me because
Well, being
Oh,
6
God.
times world champion is even more nicer than 5 times. So for you, it's also important.
didn't see big difference. But
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
At least
but-
now you can show with your one hand how many titles do you have, and then you will need 2 hands.
Maybe more. I think I need more hands, not only 2. Yes, and then, well, okay. It was interesting. Not all games, but many games were interesting. And I was a little bit not surprised, but also have a nice expression because Rule, even in position like yesterday, I was thinking it's better for me. Yesterday was nice games because it was not easy to make a price of position.
Yeah.
First, I think it was better for Rule, then better for me already. Then maybe still better for Rule. And still he is very dangerous in any position. He finds some variants like move 36-31 yesterday.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic move in position where I think it's dangerous for him. And then after this move, I start to calculate and I think, maybe it's already dangerous for me. I don't know what is this. So he can play very good and calculate very good. So
And
even if I lose, it's not. I don't lose against some bad player.
And-
not for sure.
and about the regular games, one more question, because as you say, it's the final regular game,
Yeah.
so we can make up our minds now about the regular games. Can I say this, that there's a difference between your first regular games and the final 3 we saw after the final rest day?
After rest day, yes, I get maybe I start to play more aggressive because I have nothing to lose, and then, well, when Rule give me center, I take it. I take it and try. So I want to show that I also can play center. Sometimes center even play more difficult in blitz because you must be careful. And when I know myself, when I play surrounding, I know how to play. I know how to play moves. But when you play center, you always must be careful with combination, put strategy. But if it's come good, then you get it good center. Then it's so.
And with hindsight, do you think maybe it would have been better to play like this from the start of the match?
But I don't think there is big difference because before he didn't give me many possibility for. He didn't try play surrounding many times. Maybe maybe I play more careful, but it depends of my feeling also, my healthy. It's also.
Yeah. Yeah, just as you
it
said.
It was some problems, yes, before.
When you feel good, then you play like this.
Yes, sometimes feel good, sometimes not so good. And this is quite long match still. Not so long like before 20 games, but 12 games. So, okay. I'm happy it will finish tomorrow. I think everybody.
And for tomorrow, where are your best chances in Rapid, Blitz, or Georgia Flamon?
To survive till Super Blitz and then
Yeah.
let's see.
And then see, yeah.
I try to play long games because also for people interested.
Yes, for sure. And
So,
that's a
okay.
question we had in the chat, how it will work tomorrow. So I don't know if you want to hear it as well, how it will work tomorrow, but at least we have to tell this to the viewers. But if you want to take your rest, that's also fine.
You need to explain the format.
Yeah.
Huh?
You need to explain the format.
The format.
The
Okay.
format for
Okay.
tomorrow.
Then.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, thanks a lot, Alexander.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for joining
No,
us.
Thank you
no,
very
it's
much.
not
Good luck
finished.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not finished. Every time for interview, I take 1 or 2 for my letters.
Yeah,
I
you
must
can
take
take
2.
now. Two chocolates.
Okay. See you tomorrow, maybe.
Bye, Alex, and fingers crossed.
It's only very
Good luck.
pity, I didn't sleep this night because tomorrow Natalia was here and I was not here. Natalia Sadowska. Very pity, very pity. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, now just to tell our viewers, the schedule for tomorrow will be the same as we had in the previous tiebreak. So it's very important to state, Roel will only need 1 victory. So tomorrow, if he wins a game, then it's over. Roel wins the match. But of course, Schwartzman still has his chances to win the match, because if he wins 3 times, then he will be the next world champion. So we will start with the rapid games. They have 20 minutes and you get 10 seconds per move. Both players get 10 seconds per move. So we start at 11 o'clock with the first rapid game. And if it will end up in a draw or Schwartzman will win, we continue with the second rapid game. And after that, we will have the lunch break, just as we had in the previous tie break, and then there will be the third rapid game. And if we don't have a decision yet, then we will continue with blitz games. And it will always go like this. So even if it doesn't matter if it's 3 draws in the rapid games or Schwartzman wins a rapid game, or maybe even 2. We will always have 3 rapid games and then 3 blitz games. And those blitz games have 2 minutes and 5 seconds added per move. And if we don't have a decision yet after these 3 blitz games, we will go to the George F. Lehman tiebreak. And that's the super blitz, where they continue to play if they have a draw with the same time they had after the draw. Oh, and I see now we go offline. Just in time. Maybe, I don't know, probably people can still hear us, but I cannot see anything anymore. Yeah, I think we're still online, so okay, that's it was just in time. I think I told everything here. Was it clear, Damian, or do we have to explain more about this? Yes, for sure. One problem is now that I cannot turn off the stream here, so we will have to continue talking until I have my screen back here. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Well, maybe one final question to you. What do you think? Who has the best chances here? Oh, now I see people cannot hear you anymore as well. But we are still online. That's a bit strange. Well, okay, then I can say something to our viewers, and I hope I get my screen back quite quickly, because now at the moment it's completely black here. I have it back here. Great. So I hope you can be heard as well. Let's see. I will check that quickly. That's
Super Blitz. Oh, we are back, maybe.
yeah, we are back. If Schwartzman wins by time, yeah, that's just a win. Doesn't matter if you win by time. That's also a win. And then so then we play another Super Blitz. Yeah, that's right. So we can still actually have 3 Super Blitz games. That would be extremely exciting. So if the first 6 games are drawn, and then Schwartzman wins 2 Georgiev Lehmann tie breaks, then we can end up quite late tomorrow, and have the most exciting day we can think of. And oh yeah, the final thing to tell our viewers, tomorrow the commentary will be well, of course I will be there, but also Martijn van IJsseldoorn and Jan Groenendijk will join me as well tomorrow. So yeah, I think we can just say to everyone who is viewing us, please come back tomorrow, because it will be a very, very, very exciting day, and for sure we will know after tomorrow who is the next world champion.
The closing ceremony is planned for which hour, what time?
We don't know. Yeah, no idea. It's just after the final game. So that's also why you should just keep on watching. You should take your day off from work tomorrow and watch just the entire day. And immediately after the final game, we will have the closing ceremony. We will talk with the players as well. So everything will be covered tomorrow.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the 20th day of January will be one of the most important days during this year in drafts world, maybe in all the mind sports world, because we will know who the world champion 2022 is. Roel Boomstra or Alexander Schwartzman.
Yes, thanks a lot, Damian, for joining me once more. It was very nice to have you and to talk about the draft world once more. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation once again. And of course, good luck tomorrow in the final day. And I send all the best regards to all the viewers, and be tomorrow, because magic will happen, I guess. Thank you very much once again, and see you during other competitions that I think that we will be transmitting, broadcasting together.
Yes, for sure. Okay, goodbye everyone, and see you tomorrow.